Hello and welcome to this session. So in this session, we will be looking at Analyst Notebook. Analyst Notebook is a tool that is being used to carry out intelligent analysis. But before going into this, we would have to study some things in order to get a very good understanding of what Analyst Notebook is. First of all, we will want to look into what data is. Data is a raw fact. As it is, raw facts are things that we know and we can't just deny them. For example, the name of a person. Let's take, for instance, a name called Ahmed, or the address of a person or a person's phone number. These are all data related to a particular person. So when these data are collated all together, they make what we call an information. An information is a collection of data or an organized data that has a meaning. So let's say, for instance, the name, address of the person called Ahmed, right? When you put all this information together, it gives a meaning, because just in case if you need to see Ahmed, you get that information from the address. So, and the address is related to the name of the person, and likewise the phone number. So you could either call him or her, or you could either just go to the address, the location, and then get to see the person. So this is what information is. Information actually gives a meaning, but when you just have address, let's say for example, number 3, Galloway Street, that is just it. You don't really know specifically where it is or what is meant for. But now when you say number 3, Galloway Street, it's the address to Mr. Ahmed. So this makes more meaning and makes more sense. So basically, this is what information is. Now, going in depth into it, we have something called data analysis. So from this information collated, you can make decisions. That is, you making the decision of going to visit Ahmed at number 3 Galloway Street. It is actually a decision, and it is because you have analyzed the data and put it together and draw out meaning from it. So that is just a very simple and basic explanation of what data analysis means. So another way it could be that you have numerous number or numerous values around a particular subject. So all you need to do is to put these records together and then draw out meaning from it, as we will see subsequently in the lesson. So now let's look into data again. So looking at data, data comes in different formats. Example of a data is your Excel file or Microsoft Word document or an audio file or a kind of a database that is a data that is being stored in a database, right? So these are all forms of data or data format. So these data are being kept in a particular, will I say, storage or a container per se, if I would use the word. And that brings us into what we call a database. As the name implies, right? Database, where data is being based, where data is being stored. Example of these are Microsoft SQL Server. We have the likes of MySQL. We have the likes of our Excel sheet. We have Microsoft Access, right? So these are all forms of database or types of database where data can actually be stored. But now, I made mention earlier of data, which they are of various forms. Data could come from Word document, data could come from audio file, data could come as a video file, and the likes. So now, putting up all these various forms of data together, which usually we call, will I say, data from different sources. Putting them together, where you are putting all this data together is called a data warehouse, right? So that's what a data warehouse is. Data warehouse is a place where you store data of different formats. The technical name is called unstructured data. Yeah, it's unstructured. Why? Because these data are of different format. So basically that is it. Now coming down to data analysis tool, we have various forms of data analysis tools. So one thing relating it to data warehouse is this. Once you have this data in various forms that are being stored in the warehouse, from time to time, you come to do some analysis on this data in order to make decisions or draw out meaning from this information you're keeping. Let's take, for instance, the petabytes of data that is being stored in Google Data Center. They actually analyze that and do analysis, and then they do this targeted advertisement on platforms where you get to see pop-ups on your screens. These are actually done based on the data that is being put together. So this is an example of what data analysis is. So now the tools that are being used for this, a very practical example is what we are going to look into, which is the Analyst notebook. We have some like Tableau, we have Power BI, we have the likes of also Jupyter Notebook and the likes. These are tools that are being used to carry out analysis on data. So now narrowing down to what we want to look into, which is the Analyst notebook. What is Analyst notebook? Analyst notebook, it's a software that is used to carry out analysis. And this software is created or is being managed by IBM. So IBM created this software to ease the processes of analysis, especially when it comes to critical analysis of intelligent data, right? So this is what Analyst notebook is used for, right? So a very important feature or important features of this system, or why this system is being built, is the fact that it has some features that enable you to be able to collaborate. What I mean by collaboration is 2, 3, or 4, or 5 persons can come together in order to carry out analysis. Just imagine if each and every person will have to do the analysis on their local systems personally before they come together to put it together. Like, that's actually going to be a bit tedious. But this particular analysis tool, which is the Analyst notebook, have the feature of collaborative work. So simultaneously 5 people can be working on the same project, and all of them are seeing the effect of what they are doing in real time. That is it. It is also very efficient in the sense that it has ability to analyze data within short period of time. That's one thing. Number 2, also, it helps you to organize this data and gives you information, mostly in form of infographics, such as charts or such as graphs, right? So basically that is just it. Now still on analysis, right? Before you carry out analysis on data, you have to first of all put this data together, and that brings us to what we call data collection. So a very simple instance is all the forms you fill online, maybe when opening up a new bank account or when registering for a particular course online. I strongly believe, like, while registering for this course, you fill out a form. So that is a form of data collection, right? So now when this data is being collected, it is being stored somewhere, and I made mention of something earlier which is called a database, right? That is a way of storing this data, right? And then once this data is being stored, after a while or after a specified period of time, you come to do some analysis on the data just to be able to make decisions in order to improve your operations, right? So we'll see an example at the tail end, yeah, which is this. This is it. So as you can see, this is an example of the report, right, that is being generated, right? So we call this presentation of data or data reporting, right? This is an example of a financial key performance indicator dashboard. Underline this particular picture you're seeing, there is like thousands of records, because as you can see, the data being displayed here is actually a data of ranging between 2 years, 2018 and 2019. So I think one of the key things I would want you to pay attention to is this vendor payment error rate, right, in the last 12 months. So looking at it, you can see the rate. So by just mere looking at this, you can see how the graph is and you can be able to tell when the failure rate was high or low. But just imagine if you just have the number, right? If you just have the number of people like that their payment fail, right? So that would actually be a bit tedious for you. But with this, you can actually just look at it and then see that, okay, somewhere around September 2018, I think there were high failure rate. But looking at it as it is, as at 2019 April, the failure rate has really gone down, and that is to say there is huge improvement in the system. So basically, this is just a kind of an overview of what Analyst Notebook help you to do with data. So you can actually be able to achieve a lot more with this tool. But this is just a kind of a glimpse of what it is. We would look into this more when we take the full course. Thank you for your time.